We always hear about evil people, but what is evil? If evil was so bad, wouldn't God have made a commandment that says, "Thou shalt not be evil"? Or did he? Let's take a look today. The Webster's Dictionary defines evil as morally reprehensible or sinful behavior, which actually I like that. That really is a good definition. But that throws another monkey wrench into our thing, sinful behavior. So what's sinful behavior? You know, let's look at it this way. If you gave a child a birthday card and it had $5 in it, did you give her something evil? Did you give her sin? Think back to Adam and Eve. Was there money there? Was money evil or sinful then? Was that the cause of the initial sin? The initial evil? No. It was Satan that was the cause of the initial evil. So we can't always pin, they always say that money is the root of all evil. Well, money is not the root of all evil. Evil is a symptom. It's a symptom of a greater process. But to understand the process, we have to understand what sin is. And I would bet that most Christians today, they can't define what sin is. So before we can figure out what evil is, we have to figure out what sin is so we can understand what sinful behavior is. So what's sin? Here we go. Let's go down the stairs. What is sin? Sin is breaking of God's laws. God wrote in the first 5 books, which the Jews call the Torah, or 5 books of Moses, or the Pentateuch, however you want to say this. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. He lays out the laws of how we should live, like Exodus 20 goes into the 10 Commandments. All these laws that we understand, when we break a law, we are sinning. And sinful behavior is breaking the law. So if we're stealing, that's sinful behavior. Remember, I said that evil was a symptom. It is a symptom of a greater thing. Evil is a symptom of covetousness. Because of covetousness, we become evil in the pursuit of covetousness. So remember in the beginning, I said God would have put a commandment that said, don't be evil. No, he went above it. So above that is the 10th commandment, which teaches us not to covet. And that includes evil and sin. So coveting causes evil behavior, which causes sinful behavior. So sinful, because we're so wrapped up in pursuing riches and things like that, and pursuing power, it could be anything, whatever you want to covet.
For a policeman, your behavior was rather outrageous.
Well, you could have taken a fair share like the rest of us, but no, you had to go and grab up the whole scene, baby.
We act evilly, therefore sinfully. So it's evil. This is where it all goes in a chain. In order to figure out the chain, you need to understand the links below it. So like I said, 10th commandment is basically, thou shalt not be evil, because thou shalt not covet. So let's work up the chain. That brings us to covetousness. So this is like a long process. But covetousness is the root. That is what is happening. So now we're at the root. So here's the problem with covetousness. Covetousness drives us. It drives us through want. Now we're bringing in another term, want. And I just did a short video on this like a week or two ago about, want. It's better to want something than to get it. So if you think about like a child with a bicycle, you say, oh, we'll buy your bicycle for your birthday. Well, the birthday is a month and a half away. So each day this child wants this bike and he anticipates it. And the joy he feels coming up to the day when he's going to get his bike on his birthday, finally he gets his bike, and then 2 days later, there's nothing, the excitement about it is gone because now you got it. This happens to people at Christmas all the time. Once Christmas happens, most people find themselves upset at Christmas, like the psychological letdown. But when you want something and keep getting it, you want more because you want that excitement of want. So let's say I want a new television. Okay, I'll run out and buy it. Okay. Then the next day, well, I don't have anything to want. Oh, you know what I want? I want a new computer. So I run out and buy it. Well, after I get it, okay. Well, now I want something else. I want. And now I'm collecting things because this is a process of covetousness. I keep going and going and going instead of just saying, I want to buy a new car someday. I'll be happy if I get it, and just always keeping that want in your head and looking forward to it that, one day I'm going to get a new car, something like that. And I just want to read, because Luke touches on this a little bit, Luke 3:14. Do no violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages. That's the key, content. Because when you always want more, that drives you into covetousness, which drives you into evil, which drives you into sin. And now we made the whole circle. And I think we beat this as far as we can beat this. And we know what evil is. And why is Satan so evil? Because he wants everything. He wants the whole earth. He wasn't content with being a cherub behind God, reflecting God's light. He wasn't content. He wanted more. And the more he gets of this earth, the less satisfied he is, and the more he wants. And it's a vicious cycle that keeps going. I think that's it. Thank you. Hi, before I get started with this week's video, I just want to quickly say that my new book is out. It's called What Christians Need to Understand. It's available in Amazon. Just type in the Pews with Mike, and here's what it'll look like. But thank you.